Slow poker.
I have a career and a family, but also play poker, which doesn't leave me much time, so let's get to it. In case you're new here, I typically rocket through some felt eye view hands, toss in some tomfoolery, maybe even some hijinks, and sometimes, every so often, fold kings pre-flop. Just kidding, that's not a thing. And we'll get back to that format, cause GTOMG, there are some ludicrous episodes ahead. Whether from Texas with this piece of shit, or this asshole, or some sick hands in Vegas with this knuckle, and this stick, or this. Oh, and let's not forget one full episode dedicated to this steaming pile of ass, god piece of philanthropic. But that'll all have to wait, because I've got exclusive, never before revealed evidence on the Hustler Casino Live alleged cheating scandal, and no cap, it's shocking. So buckle up, because we're ripping the lid off this thing. What's your take on Robbie v. Garrett? You know, some poker scandals are pretty cut and dry. Like that one a couple years ago where... Oh. Sorry, just getting a crotch call from my buddy Mike. I told you like 1,000 times it's because you're greedy. No one would have noticed if you'd thrown like one hand a week. But this Hustler Casino Live one, it's a live one. I revealed my initial theories on my Patreon, but as more details emerged, I just had no clue. And when you don't have a clue, go get one. Welcome to Hustler Casino, where after a delightful meetup game with Slow Poker Nation, complete with big pots, bad bluffs, selfies, autographs, shots, and a unique approach to group fisting, I take the grueling 4-yard voyage to the lion's den of Hustler Casino Live. And while I'm not much of a live streamer, nor much of a 10, 20, 40er, this is the scene of the alleged crime, where formerly unknown rec player Robbie Lou turn-raised bluff called off a 6-figure shove against Real Cream spokeshunk Garrett Adelstein with nothing but jack high. So if I'm to uncover the truth, here is where I dust for Prince. Today's show is called Max Payne Monday, where they've got 3 rules. Only run it once, 100 each from the field if you win with 7 deuce, and most importantly, play really, really terrible poker. But first, live stream commentator Raver Poker makes 2 requests. 1, splash around and VPIP high, i.e. fold less. A tall order for someone like me, but I will try. And 2, record a hype video. That I can do. Well, now I can do it. Slow Poker here, reporting for Max Payne Monday duty. And I'm not referring to DUTY duty, but the other kind of duty. I'll be the one to say it. Hustler Casino Live, you got a show going on right now. But you know what? I'm a dad. I've got 2 kids. I've seen my share of duty. So I'll be there Monday night. And I'm gonna change some diapers. Look at your dad on the TV.
What's a show?
Who wants ice cream? Let's meet the players. Drew here owns 10 Corvettes, a detail that's in stark contrast to his time spent at the bedazzled discards rack at Marshall's. In the 2-seat is Haralabas, aka Bob. I tell my wife I'm sitting by Haralabas, and she tells me I'm a liar, because Haralabas is dead, after which we eventually establish that no, I am not playing No Limit Texas Hold'em with the rotting corpse of the founder of modern history. In the 2.5 seat is tournament crusher Oscar, who, according to Hendon Mob, is a very good boy. Aren't you first on the all-time cute as a button list? Next, we have Slow Poker. Who? Oh, never heard of him. Well, whoever he is, sure seems like he's uncomfortable given the cameras and the high stakes and what looks to be a lethal combination of hunger and jet lag. So let's immediately write him off. Yeah, that guy. Batting cleanup, Sashimi Poker. I've played with her before. She's prone to shoving in very weird spots and eats Doritos at the poker table with chopsticks, which, on second thought, is kind of a hygiene power move. Here's DK, and if he looks like a cartoon villain, it's because he's a cartoon villain. Margot here always VPIPs low, which will make my VPIP look, well, still low, but at least less low. She's a golfer, video game streamer, and underwear model. So me with more facial hair. This is Pretty Boy P. I don't know much about him, apart from his fabulous boots, and that I couldn't pull off a name like Pretty Boy P. I'm not pretty. I'm several decades removed from the classification of boy. As for P, actually I could pull that off, because I'll probably sneak away every 10 minutes, and it won't be to vape. Next is DGAF. Contrary to popular belief, that's not his birth name, but an acronym that stands for everyone's inner monologue once every 4 hours. Dear God, a fold! And finally, Rubies, who rudely declined my request to change that B to a P so I could do my world-renowned Slumdog voice.
20 million rupees.
And yes, I can do that impression because I'm vaguely ethnic and therefore have carte blanche to do impressions of anyone from anywhere. But enough prelude. Let's play some cards. See, I'm part Russian, so I can do that without getting cancelled by vaguely Eastern European Twitter. Don't be jealous. After buying in for 10 grand, which is for a 2-5 player, #ToTsNorm, in the very first orbit I look down at Ace Queen, and facing a raise to 80 from a dead historian, I 3-bet to 210, and he calls. After this flop, and a check from Bob, I bet third pot, and he quickly calls. And after a blank turn, and another Harala check, I try to size up, but since I don't play these stakes, I'm not used to the white chips and the brown chips, and calculating bets this large, so I misclick to a puny 40% pot. And of course I get a call from Hawaii Bob. And after another brick, and another check, I misfire again, for only half pot. But hey, maybe it looks value-y. And for someone with enough fun coupons to use the term yacht season, Bob makes a shockingly tight fold. That's right, Bob. Not in my house! I mean, technically this isn't my house. My literal house is 3,000 miles away with the wife and children sleeping inside and surely a far lower mortgage than yours. So I'll rephrase. Not in my metaphorical house! After a raise from 1 million rupees. I'm not really gonna do it. I'm in the hijack with a marginally popular shoe brand, and I should 3-bet or fold, but they really want me to do less of the folding, so I don't. And if there's a squeeze, I can just muck, and at least I've inched up my sad sack of E-Pip. But here's the rub. 8-bit boxing icon over here, he vowed that each time the live stream hit another 1,000 likes, he would shove blind. So he doesn't just squeeze. He gives Mr. Whipple a coronary, and this blind shove isn't a surprise.
Yeah, he's being informed. Yep, 2,000 likes. So he's all in blind, and the table knows it.
Ah, but Raver Poker, that's only if everyone was paying attention. I won't reveal which player wasn't, but I'll give you 3 hints. This face, these words,
I didn't hear him announce it.
and this nit, who would never flat call with ace-6 facing a raise knowing a blind shove was en route. But it might be that Ruby's Tuesday perceives these weakness tells as reverse tells, assuming that I'm angling, laying in the weeds with a monster, because she folds. And then it's back to me with a decision.
You're snapping it off, right?
What you got?
You can't ask for help in the hand, Slowpoker. I don't like that.
Fair enough, Raver. Look, relatively speaking, I'm still a poker neophyte, and often forget what's poker kosher and what's poker trafe. That said, once we're shoving 5 grand without looking, because an arbitrary number of strangers tapped a thumb icon on their Samsung flips, we may now be in a jurisdiction where time-honored poker rules and regulations aren't, sacrosanct. Like when the Rapid City Monuments played the Gotham Rogues, and after the kickoff return, the commentator said, "What a blatant hold by 67!" But back to the poker. Better yet, let the game resume! So trust me, I already know the conventional wisdom.
Slowpoker got a call. Call it. He knows what to do. Don't you dare fold here. It's a random hand, Slowpoker. It is a random hand. He did not look.
I take Ruby.
You have him crushed. Obviously. Just call. Call with king high. Queen 7 offsuit. People call it the computer hand, right? Why is it called the computer hand? Because it's the average hand. Right? So in those spots of slow poker, you have to think, are you beating just an average holding?
That's all well and good, Raver. DK could have a computer hand, but I'm kind of a computer poker player. I'm not a gambler. I'm a compact presario with a couple of hole cards. I sit down at a poker table, boot up, and start processing, and every so often get distracted for 4 or 5 hours. But if DK does have a computer hand, this computer player ain't doing computerized cartwheels. Or if DK's got better, or far better, I'm a dog. Speaking of which, oh, you're so sweet. Oh, I could hit you up. So yeah, facing a coin flip or coin flip adjacent, I'm gonna risk 5 grand? That doesn't compute. But here's where I land. I'll just flat and reevaluate. I'm more of a post-flop guy anyway. So I call, and on this flop, I check, giving a look of feigned weakness, hoping to induce. But sadly, DK doesn't take the bait and checks back. After this turn, I check again, this time with an ever so slight reverse tell smirk. But again, he doesn't bite. So it's gotta be the river where I'll pounce. That's where I'll spring the trap of the night. Nay, the millennium. I check and then do a subtle hand motion that lo and behold gives DK the green light, and he just jams. I snap it off with the nuts and take down the biggest pot of my life, armed with nothing but pure skill, heart, and grit.
Played you like a fiddle, DK. Played you like a fiddle.
Did you?
Did I? Did I? I'm sorry, Raver. I don't remember.
Chan is trying to sucker him in by taking his time.
Look at the control. Look at that.
Look of the defending
He knows his man well enough to check it all the way. And risk winning nothing with those cards. He owns them.
Fall for the bait. Yes, he's going all in, and Chan has him. Yet he doesn't.
Slow poker.
This guy raises to 120, this guy min-clicks to 300, and this guy min-clicks to 600. Let's be very clear. The only guy who could have a real hand here is this first guy. And let's be doubly clear. More often than not, that specific guy doesn't. So when I look down at Jar Jar Neverbinks, Misa always flop ace ace king! In my mind, there's only one move. The red chip poker people, however, argue that a cold 5-bet is not mandatory here, and that flatting is fine. But I loathe flatting 3-bets or 4-bets, and they haven't seen what I've seen, which is that Bob here has been caught raising with all sorts of riffraff. And while I don't personally own any merch from that worthless piece of trash, I do, however, endorse the tenet from one of his t-shirts, namely, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, etc. So I bump it to 2K, and after, dear God, a fold, folds, that should be the end of it, because again, neither of these min-clickers has a premium, but it's not the end of it, as Bob calls. And on a flop that has, like a dual monarchy, one too many kings, Bob checks, I bet a third pot, which of these stakes is a pre-owned Pathfinder, and Bob check jams $7,000.
All right, let's break this down. There's some chance Bob was trapping Pre with pocket aces. I mean, if I had him in his shoes, I'd flat a cold 5 too. Because if you cock a 6-shooter, you got bullets. And Bob did trap with a number 1 in this very game, albeit in a losing effort. But if this isn't aces, and a pre-flop min-click rarely is, what is it? I put him on riff-raff. The question is, what's the riff and what's the raff? His range is wide, but are we talking 4-bet king 9 suited wide? Or does he have nothing and just doesn't care? Look, Bob's a smart guy. At least Mark Cuban thinks so, or did. Bob's well aware that a king high flop is a match made in poker heaven with my cold 5-bet range. This flop is drier than dryer sheets, and he knows I'm snapping off his check jam with a made hand. But if he puts me on ace king or aces, and he flopped some rando 2-pair, he also knows I'll have to call. I am legit stumped. And while I don't love it, I think I'm just supposed to pick a better spot, even though something tells me I'm gonna regret not picking this one.
Wow, nice hand.
Well, I was right that he had riffraff, just couldn't range him on that riffraff.
And that is playing the man. He intuitively understood that he could get slow poker to fold there.
You may be right, Raver. Though Bob didn't give off too much of an intuition vibe, so there is some chance you're giving him too much credit. Who's to say? Well, come to think of it.
And Bing.
Oh, boredom. Of course. That makes more sense. He wasn't playing the man. He is the man. More specifically, the Monopoly man. When to you the money is Monopoly money, it's an easy game. This guy owns a bloody football team. If he gets snapped off and loses 10K, that's just loose change in his gold-plated couch. And if he gets a fold, whoa, so sick! That right there is a winning formula. And all this guy does is win. No matter what, he'll play this same live stream twice in 1 week. And listen, results matter. Look, yes, it's a shame I couldn't put him on 7-5 and muster up the hero call. But Red Chip Poker likes the fold, and most poker pros like the fold, and the trash ambassador can keep spouting off that there's no right way to play him. And it's an even better fold than it seems, for reasons I'll get to later. Apparently the only ones laughing, apart from Luka Doncic, are the stream watchers, who can see everyone's cards. Hey, let's call a spade a visible spade. The keyboard pros are infallible. They'd have snapped off that 7 grand with a second pair. Why? Because they're special. I see whole cards. And now, the new miniseries, in my defense. In this bomb pot, after PvP leads into an 8-player field with 3rd pair, and Bob clicks it with top pair no kicker, and I'm next up with the open-ended straight draw, it's just a fold all Monday. If I had clubs, or the flop was rainbow, or it was a single raise, maybe I roll with it just for funsies. But there are still players who could raise, including P-Boy, so it's a fold. And when Sashimi 4-bet jams 6K, I feel great about it, though not nearly as great as she feels when Bob calls it off, because he's just bored, sis? I raise with kings, he 3-bets, I 4-bet, C-bet flop, and win. Not to overstate it, but I'm the greatest of all time. Margot open limps, all while looking real casual. And then I feel pretty, oh so pretty raises, and Ruby's calls. And I couldn't muck faster if I tried. Now a friend tells me that my fold got quite a bit of mockery from the live stream chat kids. Oh, chat. Listen, kiddos, I love me some 9-8 suited. I really do. Under normal circumstances, it gives me great joy 3-betting it. But these are not normal circumstances. I studied film at OTAs. I saw Margot at the Combine. This is 100% a limp back raise with a monster. Oh, you don't believe me? So yeah, whine your little hearts out, tweens tapping away in grandma's rec room. But next time, before you talk do your homework. No, seriously, do your homework. That diorama ain't gonna build itself. After I raise ace queen of spades and get 2 callers and Pretty Boy's relief pitcher Aaron 8x 3-bets, given the SPR, this is a clear shove or fold. And usually he's got a big pocket pair, and given flat callers often have an ace, my equity might be wheat thin. Sure enough, my suited premium and Margot's casual Friday equivalent had an even worse chance than DK's hand. So I'll sleep just fine. And hey, at least someone's winning with jacks. I say it's a good fold. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I stand by it. I've got queens, but it's a bomb pot, which means no pre-flop raising. And I hate to break it to bomb pot freshmen, but queens aren't so great 9-handed. And after a turn bet and 1 call, 99 times out of 100, someone's got an ace or better. But sorry, Occupy movement, because these two are the 1%. As King High sucks out on 10 high for the classicest of coolers. And now, the even newer miniseries, Regrets. I've had several. In this bomb pot, I should raise pre-flop. That's my bad. After I overlimp with Queen 10, Margot bets flop from the straddle special, I call and turn trips, and she checks and I bet and I win. I make a critical mistake.
You got it. 5-7?
Some of you pointing out that, wow, he called it out. Nice call out by Slow Poker.
Would you have a 10?
Why is this a mistake? Because it's kinda sus. Why is it kinda sus? Isn't it just a good read? Maybe. Stay tuned. Bob double straddles to 80, I triple straddle to 160, Sashimi quadruple straddles to 320, and it folds around to Drew, who min raises to 640. But I don't notice it's only a min raise. And after 3 hours of looking down at mostly 8 deuce offsuit and 9-4 offsuit, and facing a min raise from Bedrooled, ace 10 suited is effectively pocket quads. Instead of a raise to punish the weak sauce min bet and take down the dead money or get heads up, I just call and price in straddle Shimi, which then gives her the green light to bluff in position with a draw as I dubious muck. Bad slow poker, bad. A little advice if you ever appear in a high-stakes poker game / film shoot / tire fire, don't show up with an empty tummy. Eat! And call your mother, she worries. You look pale. It's the very last hand, and after a raise from Harala 50k loss, I look down at Queen Deuce. In a normal game, I just fold, but Queen Deuce is significant. It's the favorite hand of local legend Israeli Ron, and Espen Yorstat won the main event with it, and Raver Poker begged me to boost my VPIP and get frisky. So here's my plan. I'll 3-bet, and given my tight image, everyone will just fold, and I'll table the Queen Deuce, and we'll have a 9-handed laugh about it, and then we'll all go out for blizzards. But DK has a different plan, and cold calls my 3-bet. I really want that blizzard. Alright, focus up, Slow. You made this Queen Deuce bed, now lie in the Queen Deuce bed. So, normally a 3-bet cold caller tends to have a hand along these lines, but DK's 3-bet cold call range is even narrower. In this configuration, he could only have either any 2 suited or any 2 offsuit. And after a flop that smashes my 3-bet range, I misclick again, this time to a teensy barely quarter pot. Despite that, if DK's got 10s or 9s, hopefully he'll just muck. But hope springs ephemeral as he raises to 900. Alright, fine, I'll just call and turn the effective nuts, and that'll be that. But the turn doesn't oblige. And after I check, DK nearly pots it. And this is the inflection point. Because Morpheus only offers 2 pills, the red fold pill or the blue check jam bluff pill. Since I have a nut blocker and plenty of equity, there is no third pill where I call and cross my fingers that I hit or that DK river bails on a bluff. It's only red or blue. But instead I ditch Morpheus and go grab the burnt umber pill from Joe Pantiliano. And why?
You must be able to see it, Mr. Anderson. You must know it by now. You can't win. It's pointless to keep fighting. Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you persist?
Because I choose to.
And after this brick, a check by me, and a jam by DK, I consider calling and will explain why soon. But for now, I do what slow poker was born to do. And does DK have it? Oh, does he ever.
Ship it! No! Ship it!
Nicely done. That was impressive, and fortunate for him that I didn't flop it or get there, or recall that the 7 deuce game was on. All I can do is give DK credit.
We'll play DK.
6, 7.
She wasn't in it.
And several $1,000s, plus a little maraschino hundo on top. Look, I got DK earlier for a bigger win with my legendary 3-street trap, and he got me this time. I be at him, straight up, he be at me, straight up. That's poker. Not sure what else there is to say. I suppose I could say something.
Me got bluffed by the 7 deuce. They asked me to splash it up and play loose. Shoulda mucked pre, like I always do. Got bluffed by the 7 deuce. And I was 3-betting wide as an homage to yours and Ron with an eye. And I butchered the turn. Was still tilted by Bob and his money to burn. Me got bluffed by the 7 deuce. The clues were in white text on bright chartreuse. Call with Queen High, we're at Robbie Lou. Oh, oh.
What are you wearing?
Me got bluffed by the 7 deuce. Me got bluffed by the 7 deuce. Me.
And that'll do it for episode 19 of Slow Poker. Please like, subscribe, comment below, and oh, the smoking gun. Almost forgot. So after losing a 15K pot, I stole $40 from Sashimi, and poker internet sleuths caught me red-handed, which leaves me only one option, and that's to fess up. I, Slow Poker, and the smoking gun. But hold on. I'm just a patsy. I paid that 40 to the criminal mastermind who's been signaling his lackeys in every high-stakes live stream in America. And who is this vile puppet master? Well, let's just say he's not such a good boy after all. That's right. All this time it was the dog. Until next time, this has been
Slow Poker.
Me got bluffed by the 7 deuce.